Welcome everybody. Now, let's be real. It can be hard to discover your purpose or to evolve into the new version of who it is that you're meant to be. Step into this new version of you or go make that impact that you want to make when you're so busy as a parent, an entrepreneur, somebody who's working away 9 to 5. Like, you've got so many other tasks and things on your plate. Perhaps you're feeling burnout, overwhelmed, stressed. Like, you feel like looking at this sort of idea, it's like, well, I can't figure out what those things are. I need like the roadmap forward to help change my life without having to change the things in my life, right? I can't burn everything down and start from scratch. I need to do this right where I'm at right now. And I want to cover that with you today because I used to believe that the only way to find my real, my purpose was to blow everything up. I was like, well, maybe I just need to quit my job. Maybe we need to move cities. Maybe we just need to start completely over. And for years, I thought that meaning, and having that fulfillment in my life was hiding somewhere else in something bigger, a shiny, just shinier version of my life that was out there. But here's what I eventually learned, and I hope that so many people can take away from this. It wasn't that the purpose was missing. It wasn't that meaning was gone. I just couldn't see it. I was actually blind to some of the most extraordinary things that were just hiding in the ordinary right in front of me. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how you can uncover some of the most extraordinary things, the most extraordinary purpose in your life without having to change your life around completely. Not by adding more to your plate or waiting for the perfect stars to align or anything like that, but by learning how to spot where your gifts are already creating impact in the moments that you're already just dismissing as routine. And so we're going to unpack that today. Now, of course, I always like to say at the beginning of the videos, I forgot to, welcome to the Giver Method channel. My name is Jake. I'm so glad you're able to join me. A couple questions that might ground this for you. Have you felt like your life, right now is just a warm-up for the real thing, for something else that's coming? You're grinding through endless routines until someday you're going to finally find that fulfillment or that meaning. Or maybe you've thought man, I'm pouring so much energy into my daily tasks, but none of it feels like it matters. Or maybe you think hey, I know I should feel grateful, but honestly, everything just feels flat and meh. Purpose, it must be out there somewhere, but in a different job, different season of life, or different version of me. I don't have the energy to become right now. If any of that hits home, if any of that even partially resonates with you, then this is the video for you. And if it is you, then let me just be very clear. There isn't any sort of a problem in your life. Your circumstances aren't the problem. What's missing is this lens to actually go see the extraordinary that's already just embedded in the ordinary around you. And trust me on this and stick with me because it will make such a massive difference. Now, I didn't properly introduce myself. My name is Jake Talbert. I said that earlier. I said my name is Jake, but I'm the founder and author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. Everything we're going to talk about today is grounded in principles from this. So what we're going to talk about, the action items, the exercises, the things I'm going to give you that you could go do are going to be things that are grounded from here inside of my book. Now, when this came out last November, it immediately became an Amazon bestseller. It has tons of 5-star reviews. People absolutely love it. It's changed so many people's lives. And the reason why they love it is because it's grounded in my story with exercises and action items that you could put into place, because my story is similar to yours. We're walking similar paths. I am a parent of 3. I'm an entrepreneur. I've worked in that corporate sea of cubicles. And so everything in here is I know for a fact that you can't just burn it all down, start from scratch, or go move to the woods to find yourself. So I highly recommend, right now, I've made this available on Amazon for as little as $2 if you want the electronic version. So if you want the physical or whatever, you're talking between $2 to $10. That's the best money you can invest in yourself to make sure that by the time we hit the holidays or the new year, you are a different version of yourself. There are practices you could put into place today that you'll see impact in the energy you have daily. You'll see impact in how you show up in the next few weeks, and people will start to see a different you within no time at all. So I highly recommend you get yourself a copy of that. Like I said, the link's down in the description, or pause the video and go to Amazon, look up The Giver Method by Jake Talbert. Get yourself a copy. It's going to change your life. It's going to be so big for you. Now, one of those things that I ground these things in is some of the stories and things that I have. And for me, the realization, this sort of realization about finding the extraordinary, it didn't come easy, because back in the corporate days, I convinced myself that my daily responsibilities were holding me back from this purpose. Every Tuesday just felt wasted. Every other meeting felt meaningless, and I kept thinking to myself, man, once I escape this, I can finally start to see, I can finally start to see myself in a new place, start living, start having a more fulfilled life. But everything shifted when I started to notice that purpose wasn't hiding in some future reinvention, but it showing up right in the middle of the life that I already had. How I have a gift for humor. I did comedy for years back in the day. How do I use that to lighten the heaviness at home, or use gift of clarity and breaking down complex things to help colleagues who are stuck, or using my gift for teaching to help my kids work through challenges. Like, those weren't just side notes, but they were actually my purpose. These are things that I actually care about. And so I want to help you see that today, because research actually backs this up. People who find meaning in just daily activities, find their meaning and their purpose and that excitement, they are 43% higher life satisfaction than those who are waiting for things to change, for those extraordinary circumstances to come their way. So all the different data and studies out there show that these small shifts in how you show up in the existing tasks, they create so much more fulfillment than any dramatic life change ever could. And so today I'm going to walk you through 4 very important perspective shifts and principles that are helping parents and entrepreneurs and employees just like you stop waiting for someday and start uncovering the extraordinary meaning in the ordinary lives that we're already living. How do we make our lives feel extraordinary? And just to be clear, we're not talking about faking any sort of gratitude or pretending like you don't struggle in some way, or that you're not stressed or frustrated or burnt out. It's about realizing that the morning coffee with your spouse, the conversation with a colleague, the patience you show your child, those aren't obstacles getting in your way. They are your purpose, expressing your gifts in those moments that you already have right in front of you. And so if you want to dive deeper into that, like I said, that's where you can go get yourself a copy of the GIVER Method on Amazon. The link is in the description. Or you can go to thegivermethod.com, get on our newsletter list, see the other ways we help people. You go follow us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, under the handle of the GIVER Method. And then if you're ready for some more personal support, if you want someone who's walked that path that you've walked and can help you realize that the someday you're waiting for, it's now, and help you uncover these extraordinary things in your ordinary life, then check out the coaching link below. Check out the video on that page. It might make sense for us to do some one-on-one coaching. And of course, if you lead a team, have a podcast, a stage, an event, whatever it might be, where people gather, that you're like, man, this message or these messages that Jake covers on his channel, they'd resonate with my people so well, then let's talk about how I can bring it to your people. I love showing up and being able to deliver value to people and see the change it makes in their lives. And then, of course, if you haven't already, hit subscribe to the channel, tap the bell for notifications, like the video, and then comment what your takeaways are. I love reading those and responding to them. All right, let's dive in. Let's stop wasting any more time. I want to cover these 4 areas real quick so that you can see the extraordinary that's been hiding in the ordinary all along. And so our very first principle that I want to focus on is see the extraordinary in every day. Okay, we're just going to break it down. We're some basics here, right? If we kick this off, it's a simple, but it's a really powerful shift that you can make, and you can make it immediately. Before you step into any ordinary moment, whether it's you're going to be making dinner, walking into a meeting, helping your kid with homework, pause just for a few seconds and ask yourself, which of my natural gifts could I bring to this moment? How do I want to show up? Who do I want to be? My gosh, see, most of us, we just drift through our days on this autopilot mode. And dinner is about getting food on the table. The meetings are about, surviving the agenda. The homework is about just getting it done so we can move on to the next thing. But because, we're half checked out. All those moments, they blur together. They feel like just another day. And your brain, just actually concludes, man, nothing meaningful happened today. Nothing. That's why you sit down to dinner with your kids and you're like, hey, how was school? Good. Because you're in the same scenario. You're not looking at the daily thing and being like, oh my gosh, this happened, that happened, this was so cool, I experienced this. The truth is, every one of those moments is loaded with opportunities for you to use your gifts and your superpowers to create impact. You are the only person who has your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences, and you are the only person who can create the impact and create the value that you can create, because no one else has that same combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences. There are people waiting, the people in your life, your spouse, your kids, your coworkers, your community, whoever it may be, your friends. There are people out there who are waiting for you to be able to make the impact that only you can make. Think about it this way, the parent in the kitchen. The gift of connection could turn meal prep into a space for bonding instead of just chopping up vegetables. That employee meeting, gosh, if you've got clarity, that you could just cut through the confusion and help your team move forward with more confidence. And if you're an entrepreneur, checking in with a client, your gift with just encouragement can turn this transaction into a true relationship. Now, this is where the science backs it all up. Your brain, there's something that's called the, what was it? The reticular activation system, right? Think of it this way, your attention is like a filter. right? You have a filter over it. It has decades of knowledge in programming and everything. Like what gets noticed and what gets ignored, like that programming just starts to filter those things out. When you like set an intention, even a tiny one, your brain starts to spotlight those moments like that match. So think of it this way. If you ever thought to yourself, like maybe you're looking at buying a new car. You're like, oh my gosh, I really like this new whatever, this, silver whatever car. All of a sudden, you're going to see more silver cars. You're going to see more of that type of car. You're going to be like, my gosh, they're everywhere. Or you buy it and you're like, oh my gosh, it was so amazing. And then as you start driving, you're like, oh my goodness, everyone else has the same car as me. Everyone is wearing the same shirt as me. Everyone has the same, like you start to notice. It's not that there are more people with that. You just start to notice like when that happens. And so you set the intention. Your brain will find those moments. So when you ask yourself, like, how can I use my gifts here? How do I want to show up? What's the impact I want to make? You are literally reprogramming your brain to see purpose where you used to see nothing but a routine. And so here's what I want you to do. Here's the actual steps behind this. There's 3 of them. 1, like take 15 seconds and pause before moments begin and just breathe. Like ask yourself, like, okay, which of my gifts can fit here? How do I want to show up? Maybe you want to show up with patience. Maybe it's humor. Maybe it's problem solving or encouragement. Whatever it is, get specific. If you need ideas of what your gifts are, the G in GIVER method is about finding your gifts. So it might be time for you to go get a copy of the book. Step 2, bring that gift intentionally into the moment. So like, hey, like an example might be like, hey, I ask good questions while cooking, to connect with my kids. Or I'll use my gift of clarity to stop this meeting from just going in circles. I'll use my encouragement to make that client truly valued. Like whatever it is, just create, like, here's how I'm going to show up with my gift. I'm going to show up in this moment with this. Afterward, do a quick check and ask yourself, like, what changed because I showed up with that intention? Did the conversation go deeper? Did the meeting move faster? Did someone walk away lighter? Whatever it is, write it down, even like one small sentence. The simple reflection, it trains your brain to notice the impact of your gifts. And that matters. It matters so much because your experience in life is shaped less by your actual circumstances and more about how you truly show up in them. People who create opportunities in their life are the people who show up with intention, authentically who they are, with their gifts and superpowers to serve the people around them. That's who gets opportunity. There is no luck. There is no chance. I don't believe that there's like just random chance. I believe all things happen for a reason, and it's because you show up in the way that you show up. If you show up passive, you're going to live a passive life. If you show up burned out, you're going to live a burned out life. But if you make the conscious choice to just show up differently, it's going to change how things impact you. 2 people, they could have the same day with the same meetings, the same chores, same responsibilities, and one feel drained and one feels so damn energized and purposeful. The difference isn't the day, it's whether or not they activated their gifts and showed up authentically of themselves. When you start bringing your gifts into these ordinary moments, they stop feeling meaningless. They become proof that you're already living with purpose right now, damn it. Like it is, like it's not someday. It's not after things change. It is today. And I promise you, people are waiting for you. You may not believe me right now, but they are out there. There are people waiting for you to make the impact that only you can make. And so our second principle or area that I want to dive into, it's about digging up the gold that's already there, things that already exist. Like, so how do we uncover the extraordinary that's already present in those routine responsibilities? Once you start to see days differently through that lens, it's time to actually uncover proof that your gifts are already showing up. Like, even though, gosh, I'm going to start showing up with more intentionality, but weird, they've already been there too. This is digging up that gold, because here's the deal. Like, you've probably been buried, like you buried a lot of that extraordinary things that you do under these like everyday labels of like, just doing my job. I'm just being a parent. It's no big deal. But like when you look closer, like those ordinary responsibilities are already packed with evidence of your purpose. And so this practice isn't about reinventing something new. It's about just recognizing what's been there the whole time. When you start seeing the pattern of how your gifts show up and who they serve, it gets really hard to keep believing that your life doesn't matter right now. And so here's how you can do it. Pick one recurring responsibility you have that, it's on your plate, thing that you do all the time. Something that you do on autopilot, helping kids with homework, running your project at work. Maybe it's onboarding a client in your business. And for 1 week, after, just for 1 week, after each time that you like do it, like walk through it, and look for like these 3 layers of digging that you're going to look for. Okay. So think back through like, what was the activity I just did? Or what was the thing I went through? And like layer 1 is like, okay, well, what gift did I use? And go beneath the surface. Like, that parent helping with homework, like they're not just explaining math. Like, gosh, I'm using patience to break things down step by step. I'm modeling calm, for someone that's frustrated. The employee project or whatever, like, you're not just juggling tasks, like, you're connecting the dots, you're keeping people focused, you're spotting problems before they blow up. If you're an entrepreneur, like, walking that client through a process, like, you're creating trust, you're making overwhelm feel super simple, you're encouraging them to believe that they can succeed. Like, don't settle for the, like, well, I'm just being helpful, I'm just doing my thing. No, actually name the gifts that are showing up that you're bringing to the table in that moment. Now, the second layer of that is going to be, like, who actually benefited and how. So that's where impact comes into focus. That homework help, like, it isn't just about grades. It's teaching your kid how to tackle hard things without panic, how to build resilience that's going to shape them for years to come. That project coordination, like, it's not just about a deadline. It's about how do we reduce stress for the team? How do we create stability for everyone? The client onboarding, it's not just about paperwork. It's about building the foundation of trust and how clients experience your business moving forward. And it changes how they show up. I know this from working with so many small businesses. And then the third layer down is going to be like, what would be lost if I didn't show up this way? And this one hits hard because it forces you to see the value that maybe you've been downplaying, maybe you've been leaving on the table. If you weren't there for homework, your child loses, more than just answers, right? They lose the model of, like, perseverance. If you're studying that project, like, gosh, your team doesn't, they drown in chaos. Like, if you're building safety for the client, the relationship never really takes off. Whatever it is, write these things down, create an evidence journal. Seriously, like, just think about it. Like, you can't just think about it. You have to document it because your brain will try to dismiss these moments unless there's hard evidence. When you write it down, when you say it out loud, it changes how your brain perceives it. And then that's where it gets fun. After a couple weeks of doing these sort of things across different responsibilities and areas in your life, go back through that evidence journal. Look for the patterns. Like, you're going to start to see the same gifts showing up again and again in different ways. Maybe your gift of creating emotional safety shows up with your kids, your team, and your clients. Maybe the ability to see patterns helps you both at work and home. Maybe encouragement shows up everywhere, from your marriage to a quick text to a friend. Like, once again, it's not random. That's purpose. That's you consistently showing up as you in the places that you thought were so ordinary, like, in the first place. Now, this step, these things, like, it dismantles one of the biggest lies that you're carrying with you. The lie that our current life doesn't count, like, that it's not extraordinary. Right? Like, that it doesn't have, like, the meaning and fulfillment is somewhere out there. When you've got a page after page of evidence that's just proving that your gifts are impacting people around you, it's almost impossible to keep believing that you're not making a difference. And the best part is, like, once again, we're not changing our job, we're not changing our circumstances, you're not moving your life around, you're just showing up in what it is and feeling more purposeful. Like, the extraordinary that you've been chasing isn't hiding in some future version of yourself. It's buried in the life that you already have, and you just need to start digging it up. And that takes us into the third principle, all right? This is like a breadcrumb tracking system, okay? So think about this, like, we're following the spark trail. And so the question a lot of people wrestle with is, like, even after you start noticing your gifts, like, but they ask themselves, like, but what's, like, my lane? Like, what's the specific thing I'm actually here to do? Where am I supposed to make an impact? And that's where this practice comes in. Like, it's following the spark trail. So the thing I want you to understand is, like, purpose doesn't usually show up like a billboard with flashing lights in any sort of way. It shows up as these little breadcrumbs and tiny moments scattered through our ordinary day, where you feel the most alive. You feel more alive and more energized than usual. The problem is that we blow right past them because we're waiting for some big lightning bolt moment. Ta-da! Here it is. Here's your purpose, or whatever. Something that tells us that we're on the right track. But when you start collecting these sparks and paying attention to the patterns, you'll start to see, like, man, your unique lane of contribution is crystal clear and you're already in it. So here's how you spark these breadcrumbs. Like, your body actually shows you when you're aligned way before, like, that confidence in your brain comes. When you're using your natural gifts, your superpowers in ways that matter, you feel it. Time moves differently. You're more present. You have these little energy boosts instead of feeling drained. So different, like, researchers or science, things out there, like that data that's out there, they refer to them, they're like, they call them flow markers is what they call them. And I love that term. Like, but you don't need to understand, like, the flow mark. You felt it. You know what that is. You know what I'm talking about. If you think about it, like, a burnt out parent suddenly lights up when their kid asks them that deep question at homework time. They get to use their gift of like guiding rather than just nagging. The entrepreneur feels buried under operation, suddenly comes alive when that client conversation where like their gift of strategy can kick in. The employee who's half asleep in a meeting suddenly feels engaged in that random like hallway chat that helped the coworker see a problem differently. Those sparks are not random, they're the breadcrumbs, you know, and you've got to train your brain to notice them. So here's where you want to create a spark tracker, okay? So that spark tracker, like do it on your phone or whatever, just open up a note app. Every time you feel that tiny bit of more engaged, more alive, more energy, more yourself, jot it down. It doesn't matter how small it seems. Don't judge it. Like, hey, gosh, I felt more energy helping my son like work through and reframe a problem. You know, hey, I actually enjoyed breaking down that really messy project with my team. I got really like excited and lit up when I encouraged a client who was doubting themselves. That's it. Just write down like one sentence. What was it? Short and simple. The key is like is catching. Like you got to catch it right when it's happening, because if you wait, your brain is going to erase or convince you that it was nothing. And do that for at least 2 weeks. Guess what? Like if you do that and you don't judge it, you don't filter, you don't dismiss, like if the spark, even a little bit of energy, it counts, then you'll be able to start finding the patterns where after a few weeks you sit down and like you look at that tracker and you say like, well, what were the themes that showed up? You know, where do these breadcrumbs like start to gather together? Are they problem-solving conversations? Are they teaching moments? Are they encouragement, creative outlets, whatever? Which gifts am I using in these moments? Clarity, humor, empathy, pattern spotting, you know, whatever that may look like. You know, who benefits the most? Who's benefiting when I'm at my best? My kids, my spouse, my clients, my coworkers, my friends, whomever. You know, how do I create more of these moments right where I am? Not by blowing up my life, but by learning like, how do I lean into this, like into the things that already spark these things inside of me? How do I lean into that with the responsibilities that I have? It's a massive shift for you, because like the unique lane of contribution, your unique lane of contribution isn't something that you have to invent out of thin air. Like it's already showing up in these breadcrumb moments. You just never tracked it down long enough to see the pattern. And if you do this and look for this proof for just a few weeks, like if you have these 25 little spark points all pointing to the same gift, you know, the same kind of interaction, the same type of impact, you stop wondering if you have purpose and you realize, man, I've been living it all along. I wasn't paying attention. And that does change everything. You stop chasing future purpose. You start amplifying your purpose where you are, in the same job, the same family, the same damn circumstances that you already have, but a completely different experience of your life, because now you can see the spark, like the trail that's always been there. And then our fourth area that I want to cover is like, you know, you have to show up in your own life. It's just simple as that. You know, experiencing the extraordinary, like through these ordinary like things that you do. Like, because if we're real, you can have the right job, the right family, and even be using your gifts and still feel disconnected. And the reason why is because like you're not actually in your life while it's happening. And think about it this way: like there's tons of research. There was one specific article that was put out by Harvard, where they found that 47% of us like are walking like are walking through our waking hours, thinking about something other than what we're actually doing. That's half our lives gone because we're physically here but mentally somewhere else. And the kicker is, the same study found like we are less happy in those wandering moments, no matter what that activity is. So if you think about it, you're cooking dinner, but you're actually running through tomorrow's to-do list in your head. You're in a meeting, but you're already like drafting that email in your mind. You're helping your kid with their homework, but you're planning the next 5 things before bedtime. Like you're never fully in these moments, right? You know, they don't actually register as meaningful. So like then your brain looks around and it like concludes like, man, nothing happened here. There's no purpose here. There's no like no impact. And that's the trap. And that way, you know, like it isn't changing your circumstances. Like the way out isn't about changing anything. It's just changing how you show up. And so here's what I want you to do: how you start showing up in your life. Like start small. Think about like single focused anchors where you pick the one daily activity and you decide like, you know, hey, this one thing I'm going to be fully present. That morning cup of coffee, like you could be brushing your teeth. It could be the first 5 minutes before you get home. Like I love, as I'm driving home and I get home, like I take that moment to like decompress for just a few seconds. Like, okay, I'm stepping into home. I'm about to become husband, dad, like church leader, like all these, like, how am I going to show up when I do this? Like it changes so much for you when you have those anchor moments. You know, when you're in it, like that moment, just be there. No phone, no multitasking, like no mental escape hatch. Like if it's a morning coffee, like just taste the coffee. Notice the sound of your kid's voice. Feel the warm water washing your hands. Like it sounds like ridiculously simple, but it actually retrains your brain to stop living in the future and fully engage with the moment that you're in. And once you've practiced like one anchor, you can try it in a conversation. You pick an interaction, during the day, and you say like, I'm going to show up fully in this one. Put the phone down, turn towards the person. Stop planning your response and just listen. Listen for the emotion underneath what they're saying. What are they actually trying to tell you? And then that's like, gosh, that's how your spouse goes from, talking at you to feeling seen. That's how your coworkers stop being another task on your list and start being real human connection. That's how your children, like, they're telling you about their day, because it's a memory, not because it's background noise. And then how you lock that in is each evening you want to write down like one moment where you were fully present and how you felt. And it doesn't need to be long, just a sentence like, man, that coffee, it tasted really good today. I felt my kid relax when I just sat there and I listened. I noticed the stress drop in the meeting when I just paid attention instead of drifting. After a few weeks of doing that, you ask yourself, like, how much of my the dissatisfaction I've been feeling is actually because I'm never fully in my life while it's happening. And most people are shocked by that answer. I said, 50% of your life, you're just walking through, disconnected from what's actually happening around you. Purpose, it's not out there hidden somewhere. It's not waiting for you based off of you getting some new job or a bigger stage or perfect circumstances. Like, purpose is experienced when you're present. You're present enough to notice the impact you're already making with the gifts in your life, in the life that you already have. That's why some people, like with these ordinary circumstances, feel so deeply fulfilled, while others, like with dream jobs and beautiful families, feel empty. The difference isn't the circumstance, it's how present they are with them. So you don't need to escape your life to feel alive again. You just need to show up into the one you already have. When you combine that presence with your gifts, your authentic self of, you're encouraging, problem solving, bringing clarity, safety, whatever, the ordinary moments stop being background noise and they become the very moments that you're like, where your purpose shows up loud and clear. And so that's what I want to leave you with. Like, the extraordinary is already here. It's already in your life. It's right there. I want you to understand that purpose that you've been chasing isn't hiding in some dramatic someday version of your life. It's been here the whole time. It's woven into the daily stuff that you've probably been dismissing. I know what it feels like. Like, I've been there. I know, I feel like my life hadn't started yet. And sitting in my corporate job thinking like, man, if I could just escape all this, start fresh, I could finally live with purpose. That's not what it is. It's using those gifts. It's using the things I already had, with my coworkers, with my kids, with my spouse, whatever. These aren't just side notes. They were my purpose speaking through my gifts that I could use right in the moment where I was. And the things we talked about today, the 4 areas, they're not about adding anything to your plate. It's just change the lens and your intention and how you show up. Extraordinary lens shift, as a part of that. Dig into your gifts, find the breadcrumbs, find that fire, where was that spark? And then just show up in your life. Once again, you don't have to do all of this at once. Maybe you're just going to do a 15-second pause before the next routine task. Maybe you're going to journal one hidden impact you made this week. Maybe you're jotting down a breadcrumb when you finally felt a spark. Or maybe you're showing up fully in a conversation today. Whatever, just pick one. Just one, that's it. One step. Because your ordinary life isn't something to escape. It's the exact place your extraordinary purpose has been expressing itself all along. The only thing that changes for you now is whether you notice it and just choose to show up. Now, if this resonated with you in any sort of way and you want to dive deeper, then that's where you want to get a copy of the GIVER Method I talked about at the beginning of the video. The link is in the description. You can pause the video, go to Amazon, look up the GIVER Method by Talbert. I highly recommend you go get yourself a copy. Right now, you can get it for between $2 to $10. Get it before prices go up. You can also go to givermethod.com, get on our newsletter list, find out more details about ways that we serve people. Find us on social media, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, under the handle of the GIVER Method. If you're ready for more personal one-on-one support, check out the one-on-one coaching program link below. Watch the video. If it makes sense to book a call, book a call. Don't be afraid. I don't bite. If you have a team, host a podcast, an event, a stage, whatever it is, where people gather and you're like, man, this message would hit for them, then let's talk about how we could bring it to them. Let's talk about how we could cater it specifically to your world. Before you go, if you haven't already subscribed, hit that bell for notifications, like the video, and comment which of these things hit home the most for you. Remember, the morning coffee, that tough conversation, the problem that you're going to solve, the patience that you show, those aren't distractions from your purpose. They are your purpose, and you show up with your gifts right here, right now, to make that impact. So stop waiting for the extraordinary. It's been hiding in the ordinary that's in front of you all along, and remember that you're the only person who can make that impact that you can make, because you're the only person with your combination of gifts, superpowers, and experiences. So the people around you are waiting for you to realize this. So step into who it is that you're meant to be, because you can step into it right now. Hopefully you took some stuff away from this. Hopefully, if you want, you can check out the other videos on the channel where we dive deeper into a bunch of different principles from the GIVER method. And hopefully we'll catch you in our next video. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you real soon.